Welcome. This is a video tutorial for our new clients that are filing their very first tax form 5500 SF. That is, your plan just started up in the previous year. If your plan started up earlier than that and you just need a refresher course in filing your 5500, there is a separate video posted on our website just for you returning filers. Most likely you're watching this video because you just received this email from the online 401k about filing your tax form 5500. This 5500 is an informational tax return that reports the activity of your 401k plan to the feds. All 401k plans that have assets by the previous December 31st have to file a form for that year. The feds presumably use this information to gauge how many people are covered by private pension plans and how much money is in these plans. We've already input the data into your 5500 for you. All you have to do is review it, electronically sign it, and file it. Although we filled the form out for you, we can't sign it and file it for you. Only you as the plan sponsor can electronically sign it and file it. Now the first question most new clients have is, who can sign the 5500? Usually it's the trustee of the plan who will sign the 5500, but anyone who can answer questions about the 5500 can sign it and file it. If not the trustee, then the plan sponsor or whomever submits the regular payrolls would be a good candidate. But mainly, if the IRS or DOL had a question about the 5500, the person most conversant with the plan would be the logical choice to sign the 5500. Now then, for first-time filers, you'll need to go through a two-step process. The first step is to get an electronic signature from the Department of Labor website. This electronic signature looks like this. It has a user ID that starts with the letter A and it says 7 digits and a 4-digit PIN. And I'll walk you through the process of how to get this electronic signature from the Department of Labor website. And once you have your electronic signature, then you can go to the 5500 website and input this electronic signature onto the 5500 itself. Now then, in the email we sent, there's a link to the IRS website. It's this www.efas.dol.gov. That'll take you to the Department of Labor website itself. Now what you want to do to get your electronic signature is to click this link here. If you are new to EFAS2, register for an EFAS2 account. And again, I'll walk you through this process here. You'll read and agree to the agreement, check the little box. You'll agree to an agreement a couple of dozen times over this process and accept this agreement. Now then, you'll fill this profile information out with your company name and address. I'll give you, this is a dummy account I set up just for this case, so don't use this information, but this is what it might look like. Now, what's important here is check the box for filing signer. You can check these other boxes if you like. It won't hurt anything. It won't help anything. But the most important box to check is filing signer. That's the one you want to be sure is checked. Now then, submit that information, and it'll ask you to set up a challenge question. In this case, we're using the date of birth. So you input that, and now it'll summarize the information back to you. And again, you want to make sure you're a filing signer. You submit that information, and they will send you an email. So check the email account that you put in the profile information. And here I use my Yahoo address, and they send me an email. I'm going to click the link in this email to get back to the DOL site. And again, it'll ask me the challenge question I set up, which was birth date. And now they're getting ready to give me my numbers, so I'll have to read and agree and accept the agreement. And do it again for the signature. And now they want me to set up a password that'll get into this DOL site. You won't use this very often. This is only to get into the Department of Labor website, but it's a very sensitive password. They're very picky about what it looks like. It has to be 8 and 16 characters long, have both numbers and letters and a capital letter, and you have to use one of these symbols. Nobody gets it right the first time, so don't feel bad if it rejects your first selection. So once you've arrived at a password that the system likes, it'll let you in, and it'll give you your confirmation. Now this is the magic page. This has the information you're looking for. You may want to print this page out or write this information down. Your user ID, again, is this letter that starts with the letter A and has 7 digits and this 4-digit PIN. This is your electronic signature, and again, it just encapsulates your rest of your information. And now you don't need to log in. Now that you have your electronic signature, you're ready to go back to the 5500 website and file your 5500. In the email that we sent, there's a link to the 5500 itself. You may have to scroll down in the email to get to it. Under step 1, the website is www.sgco2, and it's pretty long and complicated, so you may just want to click the link in the website. That'll take you to the 5500 website. Now then, the username and password to get into the 5500 is different from the DOL website. The username and the password is in the email that we sent. Under step 2, you'll see a username. Again, this is just a dummy account, so don't use this, but in the email you'll see your username, and we send your password in a separate email for security reasons. So between this email and the separate email, you'll have your username and your password. Use those to get into your 5500 website. Now then, once you're in, you should see your company name and the retirement trust for the 401k plan. If you're an advisor or if you are a plan sponsor for more than one plan with us, you may see more than one plan, but the vast majority of our clients will just see the one line here. And one thing to double check is make sure that your form year is set for 2012. As a first-time filer, of course, this is going to be your 2012 is your first year, but you may want to double check, make sure that's set on 2012. Now that we're going to click your plan name here to get into the heart of the filing. This is the plan summary page. Now you see two items here, the 5500 package and a form called the 8955-SSA filing. Not all of our clients will need to file an 8955 SSA. I'll refer to that as just the SSA form. What the SSA form is it reports to the government participants who have left the company but have not been paid out yet or not received their distribution yet by the end of the year. So if your company pays out or if your plan pays out terminated employees right away, chances are you won't have to file an SSA. So for most of our first-time clients or first-time filers, you probably won't see this SSA line. That's fine. Don't worry about that. If all you see is the 5500 package, that's just fine. Or you might see an SSA filing line, and I'll walk you through that process just in case. Now, and you see these are the links to actually file the forms. These are the links to, if you want to view the form, which we'll do here in just a second. And also, once we finish viewing, you can print the forms up if you like. I don't necessarily recommend clicking this link for review complete. What that does is lock you out, and you can't get back into the form. So if you want to change anything, or if you just want to review it for now and come back later, that'll lock you out, and that causes more problems than it's worth. I don't know why it's set up this way, but I would recommend just clicking the view plan to look at your forms and not worrying about review complete. So let's look at the 5500 itself. We're going to click on the view plan link. That'll take you to the plan details, and you'll see two selections, view and edit. That's pretty literal. If you click view, you can only view the form. You won't be able to make any changes. So I usually click the edit link. That's more convenient. If you see something you want to change, you can change it right then and there. You don't have to back out and go back in under edit mode. Now then, this form, plan info, chances are you won't need to go in there. That's where the information that's common to all of the forms is housed. For example, plan name, company address, phone number, EIN. That's all located on the plan info sheet. So if your plan or if your company moved during the year, you may need to go in and change the address, but that would be the only time you would access the plan info sheet. So for now, let's just look at the 5500. We're going to click the edit link. And this is the top of the 5500. Again, the information that's common to all the forms located on the plan info sheet are in these blue sections. And so you won't be able to change or make edits to the blue sections or the blue boxes. Again, that's where you would use the plan info sheet. So if we scroll down on the 5500, you'll see the heart of the information here. We have head count figures of number of participants. And the assets, for a first-time filer, your beginning of year assets will be 0. And then the end of year assets, of course, are your assets as of December 31st. I usually tell clients you can get as involved with double checking these numbers as you want. I think most of our clients are content to let us fill this out for you. That is what you're paying us for. I think most of our clients don't know, don't care. Yeah. So, but if you do want to double check, you can check your payroll records to make sure that's the contributions that were contributed during the year. You might want to look at your custodian statement to see if that was the end of year assets as of 12/31. But like I say, you can get as involved with double checking these figures as you like, and I think most of our clients are happy to let us fill this out. Below the financial information are a series of questions. Most of these answers will be no. The questions that are usually yes are the fidelity bond questions. And if you have a question about what a fidelity bond is, we have some more information on our regular website, the www.theonline401k.com website. That has information about fidelity bonds. If your plan allows loans, and if you have any outstanding loans, you would check yes on the loan question and put in the amount of the outstanding loans as of December 31st. But otherwise, most of these questions are going to be answered no. For example, did the plan have a loss caused by fraud or dishonesty? Chances are you'll know if that's the case, and you will have spoken to us already about that. So you will know if you need to check yes on one of these, but chances are the answer is no. Now then, we will scroll back up to the top of the page, click the Return to Plan Summary, and now we're going to look at the Schedule SSA. And again, not to overemphasize the point, but you may not see an SSA filing line here. You may only see the 5500 line, and that's fine. But just in case you do see an SSA line, let's take a look at the SSA form. We're going to view form, SSA, going to edit. And as I mentioned, the SSA reports individuals that left the company but have not been paid out. So chances are, there will be some years where you won't need to file an SSA. Particularly the first year, it's relatively rare to have to file one. But if you want to look at the list of names here on the SSA, click the Edit link. That'll open up a Go To box. Click that. The default is for field. You want to click Page. And most clients just have a 2-page form. If you have more than a dozen employees, you'll need 3 pages, but that's relatively rare. And this is the information that's contained on the SSA. These are individuals that left the company, and John Smith still has $45,345 due him by the end of the year. So we're adding him with status A to the SSA list. Now Mark Jones, this tells us that he left the company previously and was previously reported on an SSA. He has since been paid out, so now we're adding him or putting in status D for delete. So this tells us John Smith is still due money. Mark Jones has been paid out. Again, we keep track of this kind of information, so I wouldn't worry about double checking this stuff. Like I say, we have a better feel for who's been paid out or who's due money than you do. That's one of the reasons you pay us. So I wouldn't worry too much about the information on this SSA. I mean, you're free to double check it, of course, but I wouldn't go into too much detail if I were you. So assuming everything looks okay, let's go back to the top of the form, and we're going to click Return to the Plan Summary, and ask if you want to save any changes. Now we're ready to file our forms. Let's file the 5500 first. That's called eFast. The 5500 goes to the Department of Labor. Their system is called eFast, and the SSA goes to the IRS, so that's why it's called the FIRE system. So that's why there's 2 different links to file. So first we're going to go to eFast to file the 5500 form. Here we see the forms and attachments. There are no attachments, so we'll go down to the bottom of the page. We've already edited the form, and we're going to click the Next button. The system will do an automatic verification or validation. Here we see that it's okay. And here is where you're going to input your electronic signature. This is the A number and 4-digit PIN that you got from the Department of Labor. Input twice as both administrator and plan sponsor. Here you see an electronic signature has been input. Now we're ready to scroll down. You'll see a box that says, I have read this agreement. Check that. And this is important. The link you want to check is Agree and Transmit. These other links won't do anything for you. I don't know why they're previous. Will just simply take you back. Disagree will cancel the whole process. Agree and Save will save your work and take you back to a previous screen. But none of those will actually transmit the form. You want to hit Agree and Transmit. Once you hit the Agree and Transmit link, you'll see that your e-file green light is lit and your filing status is submitted. It takes maybe 5 to 10, 15 minutes to go through the process. So let's go down to the bottom of the page and we'll hit Close. That'll return us to the Plan Summary sheet. And there you'll see the status has been changed to Filing Received. When I was recording this video, there was actually a few minutes time between these 2 steps. So don't be alarmed if you don't see filing status, or that your filing status is Filing Received right away. It may take some time to flip to Filing Received, but it shouldn't take too long. I would say half hour at the most. Now then, we're ready to file the SSA, assuming you have a SSA line here. We're going to click File SSA. Looks much like the 5500. We're going to click the Next button. It'll validate for you. Here it tells you it's ready to be transmitted. We're going to hit Transmit. And now your e-filed and your filing status is submitted. So we're going to go down to the bottom of this page and click Close. That takes us back to the plan selection. Now this filing received is referring to the 5500. This doesn't refer to the SSA, but we will double check in a couple of minutes to make sure that it's been received, and you'll also receive confirmation emails. So let's take a look at what those emails look like. So you're ready to click the log out button up here. That'll log you out of the form. And now, if you're lucky, good Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise, you've received a email from the Department of Labor for your 5500, and hopefully it'll say filing received. That's good news. That's the magic word you're looking for. Again, this shows that your 5500 has been received and you're all set there. Longer to receive is the IRS's confirmation for your SSA. When we did this, it took several hours for the IRS to send this confirmation email, but it did arrive eventually. The magic words here is good. Don't worry about the term not released. What happens is they'll hold on to your SSA for 10 days to allow you to edit or make changes, and then after 10 days they'll release the form to the larger computer. So don't worry if it says not released. That's not bad. The main thing you're looking for is filing status good. And that's it. You filed your 5500 and your SSA if applicable. If you want to double check, you can go back to the 5500 website, and here you'll see filing status says received and your SSA filing status says filed. And if you also notice, your links over here now say amend the 5500 or refile SSA. So that also indicates that the filing has gone through. Now then, you want to file your 5500 and your SSA by July 31st. We can tell through the website if you haven't filed by the end of July, and we'll extend it for you to October 15th. However, that will incur a $195 fee. So be sure you file by July 31st to avoid this $195 extension fee. If you have any questions or problems, contact your client success team or drop us a line at compliance@theonline401k.com, and you should be filed, and let us know if you have any trouble. Good luck.